What's up, and welcome everybody to the Los Wise Guys podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Lord Emperor Disco, accompanied by Dan. Um,
How you doing, guys? Hey, I'm Dan.
and
I'm
he's just here.
just here. Just show up. Just hang out with the guys.
Yep. Also known as the Papa Sun Killer. Dan is not just Dan, but
Mhm.
we're here and we have a very special episode for you all today, and it's going to be focused on the review of Tetris, the movie that just recently came out, and we're just going to give you the latest scoop on it. We a little review, our feelings, and how we felt, some final thoughts, and just the all around 411. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. If you like what we have to say, let us know. We appreciate that. We appreciate the engagement. And follow us at our social medias down here: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Just follow our social medias. Yeah, check us out. We have some fun stuff, fun links, social Lost Wise Guys clips, shorts, and whatnot. And if you're not on the social medias, check out this website, the loswiseguys.com website, where you can find all our stuff. It's like a master list of all the stuff we do. We have the our fantasy game league. We
What's it
have
called?
all
What's it called? This guy.
LWGFFGGWLW.
Oh man, you almost had it. You were there. You were there for a bit. The LWGFEGOS 3. That's Los Wise Guys
I don't
Fantasy
know
Video
what you
Game
just
League
said.
Season 3.
Whatever he said, you can find it on our website. We took a lot of time hooking it up. We have all our YouTube links, all our latest episodes, and all the stuff going on with us. So definitely check that out. If you got the time, it always helps. We
Yeah.
appreciate.
And one more, we don't have it on here right now, but also be sure to check us out. Normally live, this episode's not live, but you can see us live on twitch.tv/hostwiseguys, where you can see us as we record the episodes live for the most part, usually, especially when we have all three of us. Sadly, Eslam is no longer available to be on the podcast at the moment, so he'll be back. Don't worry about it. I just wanted to set it up and make it really somber.
Yep. Eslam Mama, we await your return from the great mountains of Ramadan.
Yep.
It's been a long time. I was like, damn, where is Eslam? I feel
Yeah.
like he hasn't been on in a while. I miss his ass.
I feel like he's stuck at like just the halfway part of the mountain.
He's taking some extra time. He's married now, so
Yeah.
it takes twice as long to get up the mountain. So
Yeah, that's how it works, I guess.
because they distract you, you gotta go here now. They're talking to you. You're just like, that's how Ramadan works.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you ready to get started? Tetris?
Let's do it, man. Yeah, Tetris
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Let me
Oh
just
yeah.
let me go ahead and let me share
Let
my
me.
screen
Oh
here.
yeah.
Let's show a little bit of
Pull up
the
my
Tetris.
little
Let's see what we got here.
Tetris. Yeah, it came out 2023, running 100 an hour and 58 minutes. IMDb ranked it 7.4. Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 82, and Metacritic gave it a 61. If that matters to anybody, I only really focus on the
Yeah.
IMDb.
I'm trying to see if I can get it so it looks like he's on the podcast. I can't. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I let you down.
like that one time. Get Hank on the podcast.
Yeah, I thought he was like far enough to the left. I was like, I might be able to make this work, but he has to be centered more.
Like that one time we had Brendan Fraser on the podcast. Oh,
Brendan Fraser from
good,
Whale, from The Whale.
Good times.
He was just chilling on the podcast with us. He had his own little box. Oh man.
Okay. So the Tetris. You want us just start off with how you felt, or
Yeah, absolutely. So
overall, just general, no spoiler reaction review?
yeah, 100%. So for the Tetris, actually, this is upsetting me. I'm gonna just throw this logo in the corner real fast. The sponsored by the Los West guys. No, but Tetris, I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I'm a gamer. For anybody who follows podcasts, we all play video games of some sort. I would say of the three of us, I play the games a little bit more. And yeah, man, Tetris it's been around for forever. I mean, this movie took place in what, mid 80s, and Yeah, man, I grew up with Tetris already being part of my life. My mom used to play a lot on the Game Boy. I played a decent amount. To this day, when my mom comes down to visit me, I bust out the Nintendo Switch and she's playing Tetris on there, and it's the Game Boy version. So yeah, Tetris,
The
it's been part of my life.
nostalgia, that's
Yeah.
sick.
Oh yeah, and it's it truly is, and this game really hypes it up. It's like it's one of the greatest games ever. It is. Like I don't care what anybody says. Like it really is. Tetris truly is one of the greatest games ever. Tetris Effect came out just a few years ago, and it was like game of the year contender and everything. Where you were able to play it like in VR with these crazy, like you had awesome, amazing music, great visuals, and then if you didn't want to play VR, they had that version too. And you were able to get not just the five. Whenever you get 5 blocks, it's called the Tetris. Whenever they have made it so you can get, I think it was like 10, where it's like you unlock a certain mode and you unlock 10 rows at once, and that's just like the
Oh
great.
wow.
So it's a great game. This was a very fun movie, and I enjoyed it a lot.
It's crazy that they're still like improving on this game. Like it's
Yeah.
such an amazing foundation. Yeah, and for me, I didn't even really know what to expect going into this movie. Dan kind of just recommended it off the hip, I felt like, and I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out." I going into this movie, all I really knew about Tetris is that it was popular. It is popular still, and I never knew like the background. I didn't know it was Russian or like
Yeah.
all this uh, background information the movie kind of like entails, and so it was kind of fun to learn all this like fun fact in these in the struggle of what it was to actually get Tetris on the market over like around the world.
Yeah.
um,
All the different publishing rights, which is crazy. I mean, like as a gamer, it's like you I mean, it's common, like, Tetris is like an old game. The imagery they show, in certain versions of it, you do see, like, Russian imagery and stuff like that, and then you hear the music, and I was like, "Okay," so it's one of those things where, like, growing up, it's like, I guess it is Russian once I learned what Russian meant. Because mind you, like I said, I was playing games when I was like 3. So, once I knew what that was, I was like, "Okay, so this is like a Russian thing." But it's like other than that, I was like, "Alright, it's a game that exists." And then I remember as I got older, I like, I like looking back at history and stuff, and I did know that I was like, "Okay, so this was during the '80s." I was like, "That's a Cold War. That's interesting that there was a video game," but I didn't know what entailed with all that. And, we did an episode a little while back, Disco, where we talked about our most anticipated movies of the year, and this was on my list, Tetris. So I've been like the moment I saw the trailer, I was like, I need to watch this movie because I was so intrigued. Me being a gamer, me being a fan of Tetris, I need to know the story. You know?
yeah, and they did a fantastic job of telling that story too. The drama was great, the pacing was great, um the clashing of cultures was great. You got like this Dutch American guy,
Who
Dutch
lives in
guy that
Japan?
grew up in New York and lives in Japan, and now he's in Russia. So it's like you got this
Yeah,
crazy like mixture of cultures, especially like for this guy, he's married to a Japanese woman, and he just goes to Russia to get these rights because he put his whole wealth on it. And I guess spoilers, general spoilers.
yeah, yeah.
um, but it was just a fun tale to kind of follow, and how he put everything on the line for this game. Like, and we take it for granted because it's just so widely available now, and it's just second nature to us. It's a fun game, and you can't deny how fun it is too. And
It's very addictive.
how
Yeah,
simple it is. It's just like four cubes come down in different shapes, and it's like, oh, I can get it. And then
yeah,
you pick up the pacing, and it gets more intense, and it's thrilling, and then
yeah.
such a simple concept, and you got to give it up to the creator. Man, what's his name?
It's
Alexei
Alexi something.
Hadjinov, and that it's just genius work right here, genius level work, and it's amazing what you can do with
Yeah,
16 bits. What was it, 16 bits? He said, or 8 bits?
it might. I think it was 8 bit. Yeah, because this is Game Boy. Yeah, it would have been 8 bit.
Yeah. So, and uh, since we're in the spoiler territory, that one scene where he like they showed him the Game Boy, and
Yo,
I thought it was funny how he like that moment programmed Tetris, boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
and like I guess with 8 bits you can really, because like it's
You go in there, you just type in the code, and you get it in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But Disco, what
It's
I tell
raw.
you,
Just see.
like when he was just like, so Tetris is synonymous with the Game Boy. Like when you think of one, you think of the other. They go hand in hand. And like in the trailer, I remember they kind of like they showed off like the trailer they kind of spoiled it. It was just like they're gonna reveal the Game Boy. And I was like, all right, so it's like I feel like that would have been a cool moment as a surprise in the movie, but it still didn't let me down. Like when they showed when they were unveiling it, and the guy was like, "Okay, so I don't trust you. I need you to sign this NDA." And he's like, "So he's going to show him something." I was like, "What?" It was like, "Wait a second, he's talking to Nintendo of America," and then right there, I was like, "Holy shit, he's about to see the Game Boy." And I was Disco. I was losing my fucking mind like a little kid on Christmas for something so stupid. It's like I already know what's going to happen, and I was just so excited because like this is the first ever handheld device. Like, and this is the ultimate at the time handheld device. So it's like, holy shit, the Game Boy. And then you have this a phenomenal game, Tetris, is gonna sell the copies, and the Game Boy is like one of the greatest selling consoles in history still. So, and Tetris
Yeah.
is a big part
That
of that.
they did such a good job of delivering that scene, because even me, like not even like a crazy gamer, not knowing,
Yeah.
like I didn't put the pieces together until they
Yeah.
finally just showed me. I was like, but even at that moment, I was like, oh my God, the Game Boy, like this cube of fun and
Such a
joy
good
and entertainment. How many kids are just gonna throw hours,
uh,
endless hours, and the whole, even just the conversation is just like, oh wow,
yeah.
8 bits, and like you could see him getting like
Yeah.
a metaphorical hard on. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, does it do color? It's like, no, that costs too much money or something like that.
and
And it
then
was
they
just like,
reference the batteries. It's like,
yep.
oh, it'll be 8 batteries instead of four.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that they get 30 hours off that. I was like,
Oh,
that's
dude, yeah,
incredible battery life.
The Game Boy
Incredible.
just lives. I don't, honest to God, my original, because I mean, I don't know if it's here, but somewhere I own my original Game Boy, and I don't remember ever switching batteries out because I was like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of the game, it's gonna die. It's like, no, I would look at it years later. I'm like, okay, I gotta pop batteries in it. Never had that issue. Game Boy Color, not the same thing. Game Boy Color, I feel like every week I was popping in new batteries in that some bitch. I don't know what was happening with that thing.
Oh man. Side note, I had a Game Boy Pocket,
Nice.
and a red one, and I love this thing. Da, 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 I used to play all the time. I used to even play it in the bathroom. Not the best idea. And so one time I was playing Pokemon while like handling my business, and then it fell into the toilet while I was battling this Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Was it a fire type Pokemon? Because you probably would have won.
I don't really remember, but I just remember being in shock, and then I was like, oh no! I went
If you
and
were in shock, it was electric. But no, go ahead.
pulled it out. Nice, nice. I
Yeah.
pulled it out, and it was all like dirty, and it turned
Yeah.
off. I let it like put it in rice and let it sit. Eventually, I got a new one, and I ended up giving that one to my cousin.
Did they ever
And
know that it was in a toilet?
I think like years after I told him,
Okay.
after the fact.
I was really hoping they didn't know. I was like, hey, just tell them to watch this episode.
Oh man, that'd be hilarious. No, but I watched it as best I could, whatever. And it was a hand-me-down.
Yeah.
That's why that's why you can never, post hand-me-downs or anything.
Yeah.
But that's my Game Boy story.
I got one that's pretty interesting. It's so I had a couple. I had like the regular Game Boy and I had a Game Boy Advance. I did have at one point in my life, I did have two Game Boy Colors at the same time. So the way this worked was my parents bought me a Game Boy Color. My parents like, they always got me anything I wanted growing up. They're great parents. So I had the Game Boy Color. It was the purple one that was like see-through that everybody had. I had that one. Loved the thing. It was amazing. Battery life could have been better, but that's neither here nor there. And then I remember I played Pokemon Red on there a lot, along with other games. Then Pokemon Yellow came out, the Pikachu edition, and
Mm.
I really wanted it. So I told my parents, they're like, okay, they're gonna get this. And this has happened like 3 or 4 times in my life where my parents just do not do any communication with one another, and they both basically buy me the same thing. Like I said, this has happened multiple times in my life. So this was one of the first times where I really wanted Pokemon Yellow. So my mom bought me Pokemon Yellow, the Pikachu version. I was like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. I'm opening up the gift, and my dad's pissed. I don't remember if it was Christmas or my birthday, whatever it was. My dad's just like, really? This is like, what? He got me the Pokemon Yellow Pikachu Game Boy edition. So it's like, so I had 2 Pokemon Yellows, plus I had the Pikachu edition for one of them, plus I already had my regular Game Boy Color. So at this point, it's just like, okay, we have to return one. I was like, all right, I'm all for that. I wasn't a stingy kid. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. And it was like, what do I do? Do I keep the Pokemon version of the Game Boy with the Pikachu, or do I just return the thing? And I really sat there and I was thinking, and I was just like, this is one of the first times I feel like I made a very smart decision as a child. I was like, take the special edition Game Boy back. Just give me the cartridge. And then my parents were like, "You sure this is like a cool Game Boy thing?" I was like, "Yeah, but you were already willing to spend the money, so I could just use that money to buy another game." Worked
That's
out.
fine.
I got something else out of it. I think I got like
So
a
you swapped the games
I
and
swapped
returned
the
the Game
game. I
Boy?
swapped the special Game Boy and that Pokemon, that yellow, because it was 2 things. I
Yeah.
gave both of those things up, and I was able to buy like 2 or 3 games with the money from
Yeah.
that, like 2 or 3 Game Boy games. So I already have a Game Boy. I don't need a why would I get the special
Yeah.
edition one? It's worth more
Yeah.
than just giving back the cartridge. Intelligent.
Yeah.
I was smart there.
Oh man. Look
Yeah.
at you, little hustler over there. You're
Oh yeah.
like,
Same thing
how
happened
can
with the
I
PSP. I got 2
manipulate the
PSPs.
situation?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It seems with game consoles they just
They don't know. They don't know. They don't talk. But no,
that's
anyway,
funny.
that's my Game Boy color and story.
Hmm. I think I had a Game Boy, a lime green Game Boy Color.
Oh,
I
nice.
don't even
Yeah.
I don't even remember what happened to the name. But
Yeah. I still got
anyway,
all my shit somewhere. But yeah, no. I mean, anyway, this movie was great. Real quick, the main actor here, I'm gonna mess up his name, Taron Egerton or Egerton. Phenomenal job.
yeah.
Anytime I see him, I'm like, okay, you're the guy from the Kingsman. That's all, he's the kid from the Kingsman. And then I was just like, oh no, wait a second. You're also what's his name? The singer. Uh oh fuck. Who Lion King. Who sang Lion King on the piano with the glasses?
Oh,
Elton John.
dang,
Thank you, Disco. So
Elton
yeah,
John.
you
I
also
got you.
played Elton John. So it's like I always think it was that. Now I'm like, all right, you're Mr. Tetris now. Hank something or other.
Hank Rogers. I
Thank you,
like
Hank
how
Rogers.
it was Hank Rogers too, not Hank.
I was gonna look that up. Was it Hank or was the was the
It was
subtitles just off?
Henk. I thought they were doing that because like they were in Japan, and like I feel like they'd be like Hank,
Oh, okay.
just say it differently, but it's actually written here on the cast too, like
Okay,
Hank
cool. All
with
right,
the
so it
E.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
No,
yeah, I don't know. I was like, I couldn't tell if that was a typo in the subtitles or if it was just that's actually his
no,
name.
he did a phenomenal job though, like
Great
just
actor.
going through the ups and downs, and he saw the potential in this, like even from the beginning, just like he's like, what is that? And like that first 5 minutes with Tetris just sold him, and he put his almost his entire life stakes, really, his
Yeah.
late savings, and he
The
put his
house just
reputation on stake. He put everything
yeah.
at stake to
Yeah,
get
he
these
literally bet the
rights.
house on it. Yeah.
Yeah, to get these rights to Tetris because it was that good. It was
Yeah.
that revolutionary, and the game really is like it's so it's addicting, like you said, and
Yeah.
um, it's just funny to see how this addicting game came out of Russia, and at the time, Soviet Union was kind of in control of Russia, and so everything was micromanaged, and everybody had to fall in line, and so Alexei didn't really have control over his game,
Mhm.
and so he leaked it out or something. Um,
Yeah, so it's not so much he leaked it out. It's like he just made a game and then he shared it with some friends and those friends made copies and shared it with friends and then you had that one guy Stein, was it Robert Stein or something? Who
yeah,
his, that was his thing. He would go around and I guess we're in spoiler territory at this point. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah, so he would go around and he would buy the rights to games so he could license them out. And he came across Tetris. Was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this. And that's when the company was like, can we sell it? I'm like, I guess. They didn't know. So they're like, that's how he got out.
yeah,
And yeah, that's basically where the whole movie is. It's like who actually has the rights to this stuff. Then the
yeah.
KGB's getting involved. Like there's just a lot of shit
It,
happening.
it got so intense, really, and then like the technicalities of the contracts and like
Yeah.
the ins and outs, and how
Yeah.
the console and the PC, like this distinction became a
Yeah.
factor, and
Yeah.
it
How do
was
you
really fun
define
to
PC? Yeah,
it was really
exactly.
fun to see the Russian dude Bella, I forgot his name, um
I was gonna say Belichick, but no, he was the one he used
Bella
to be the
Bellikev or something.
Patriots.
Yeah,
So
so anyway, he was in charge of like running the contracts, and so it was funny how they all showed up without communicating with each other. Stein and the
oh, and he's just playing them
Maxwell,
against each other to come out
and
with the
yeah, and
best
he's
deal.
running. He's like, "Why does he keep leaving?" And I thought that was a really fun and playful
Oh yeah,
scene. And and then you just see him formulating the best plan in his head. He's like, "Okay, well, you're playing me here." And then he's like, then he comes back to Hank, and he's like, "Does this define PC?" And like, "Does this like?" And he's
yeah.
like, "Yeah, it's good." And he's just running everything he's learning like on the spot, and it was so fun to watch. It was a props to Apple Plus, man. Apple Plus has been so good. I love a lot of their content. They have a good eye. Like whoever is like managing their content,
Mhm.
they have a very unique eye because I really like Severance. Ted Lasso's amazing. They have C on Apple Plus and like so many more shows. And
Well, not this past Academy Awards, but the one before it, they had that one Denzel Washington movie that was like nominated for Best Picture and everything. That was an Apple, Apple
oh
TV
yeah.
exclusive.
It had like an interesting name. I think I know what
It
you're talking
was
about.
it's based off one of the Shakespeare things. I think it was Macbeth. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So kudos to Apple Plus for giving movies like this a chance and enough of a financial uh, a capability to produce something so entertaining. Because
Yeah,
uh, I really enjoyed it. And like if you're into dramas and if you're lightly even remotely into games, you're gonna love it.
yeah. This
Just
is
the fact that Nintendo's involved and you get to see like this old kind of old school Nintendo and like we
mm,
mentioned before, the reveal of the Game Boy and the how they had to fight for not only game rights but arcade rights and
yeah,
then the portable gaming rights like and this is a uh, where the gaming industry is like revolutionizing and huge steps,
yeah,
jumping away from like the Atari and the original Nintendo and you know lifted off to the
yeah, man.
next generation, and it's really cool to see that.
That and now, like, think about it. It's so crazy. It's like when they finally got the official final contract, they literally had to flee the country that moment because the KGB was coming after them. So it's like they got the contract, they got the rights to license the game for I think it was everything at that point, right? It was handheld, console, and PC, um,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and
arcade rather,
it became this really epic battle between Microsoft and the Bulletproof, whatever Hanks, I forgot it was
yeah, that was
Bulletproof
bulletproof.
Force or
Yeah,
something. Battle between them where it became like
and then you had
the
Stein in the middle. It's just like I'm going to sell it to Atari.
the
It's
owner
like
of Maxwell was like bribing the KGB guy, and then Hank was actually had Nintendo backing him, so they're actually
yeah,
giving him like real money. And so it's like a lot of, and then you had something with a B. I keep forgetting his name, but
the Russian guy. Yeah, I can't. I'll
yeah,
pull it up if you want to keep going.
um, so he's like mastermind Belikov. Um,
Uh,
so he's like also another factor because he's trying to do what's best for his country and like bring money to them instead of letting the KGB like kind of ruin everything and continue to run the country into the ground. And the people are kind of losing faith in them as well, and you get to really see the landscape of Russia and the world really honestly.
yeah,
And so it's really cool to see all these factors kind of come into the same room and they're all playing off each other.
yeah.
And eventually, Nintendo won. They came out the victor, and it's very interesting to see what would happen if it didn't happen like that. What would
Oh yeah.
Nintendo be? And that goes back to like that Game Boy reveal scene too, which I forgot to mention was when he was saying like if you want to hit like a million or viewers or 500,000, I forgot what number,
It was like yeah, he said like
put
you get like
Mario
a
in there.
million players
You'll
for like
get you'll get a
Mario.
bunch of you'll get a
They get
bunch of kids, and
yep,
Mario's good. But if you want to get everybody, put Tetris like with your
yeah,
Game Boy console bundle, and uh, and he was right, man. He was right.
yeah,
It's
man.
such a
Like I said, literally that my mom was into Tetris, like so it's like right there, like proof, like somebody who's not really a gamer. Now, granted, it's funny. I say my mom's not a gamer, and she's definitely not. But like I've gone up against her in Tetris. Dr. Mario, we used to have wars back in the day over who's better than Dr. Mario. I've way surpassed her now. And the first time I ever played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas 2-player, I was the one driving the car while my mom was doing the drive-bys and murdering people. So Yeah, my mom is not a gamer, but she has dabbled in plenty of games.
That's fun. It's great that you have those memories.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And Tetris really is like it really can be played by anyone. Like you can like make it not super advanced, so it like stays a steady pace for you
yeah,
and to your level, or you could push yourself and really like speed it up and make you have to really have reflex time and
yeah.
thinking capacity to be fast. It
So
really
there's that. There's one thing that I did upset. I mean, we're talking about how much we love the movie, and I did really like the movie. But there's one thing I feel like that was a letdown. Was the video game music plays a huge part in gaming, and Tetris has one of the most iconic video game like songs like in history. It's like you hear it, oh, that's Tetris. And granted, that's something I forgot what it is. That's some type of Russian theme or something that they just made an 8-bit version of it and put it in Tetris. But like it played a couple of points here and there in the movie, but they never really talked about it. Now, I get it. I get that the game wasn't fully developed at that point. It was still in the process of being made, but it's just like we know as a people, like when the game got shipped out, especially on Game Boy, it had that song in there. I would have liked something that talks about like the one of the most iconic sounds and songs in video gaming history. Because like
they
they showed off how like when you first play the game, it's like you would get rid of one block at a time. And then
yeah
when Hank was visiting Alexei at his apartment in Russia, he came up with the idea. It was like, oh, if we do 5 in a row, everything drops down. I was just like, that's amazing. So like they added
oh
that in there, and then we got to see. Oh, that's when they came up with the idea together. Let's do that, where you get what later becomes called a Tetris, where it gets all 5 of them.
yeah
Like I would have liked to have seen something with the song. You know, I feel like that was
that
a missed
that
opportunity.
that was a really great scene though, to see that like them bouncing off ideas,
Yep.
and you get to see really Alexi kind of really have fun with his his seed child and his baby, like, and somebody that has is just as passionate about it,
Yep.
and they're just like making it better on the spot, and he's like, oh
Yeah.
well, how about this, boom 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 boom, and it's really fun to just see them kind of have that interaction.
Yeah.
And
That's
um
that's one thing I wanted to say about Alexi was the guy who created like one of the greatest video games ever. In this movie, you see how much shit he went through. Like, I mean, a bit, and it goes back to like he even talks about his dad. How his dad, I forgot what they said, Disco, but he leaked some type of something got out that wasn't supposed to get out or something, and his dad was basically like shunned by everyone to the point that
yeah
like it affected Alexi's family forever. And then Alexi like grew up just like I don't want to have that happen to my family. And then here he is, creates this game, it gets out of it gets out of Russia and everything. And at that point, it's just like the KGB's coming after him. They beat the shit out of him. They keep on like following him and threatening him in front of his kids and threatening his kids.
yeah
Um, they kick him out of his apartment, which was the apartment he lived in his entire life. Um,
yeah that
it's
was
like he
crazy.
went through a lot of shit, man.
He
And
sacrificed so much and put
yeah.
so himself and his
And
family
he
on the
didn't
line,
get
because
anything. Well,
they
and at
could
the
have
time, he wasn't getting anything for the game either. He wasn't getting
they
any type of monetary value.
being in the Soviet Union, they could have easily just like killed him for like just any little excuse, and so he really was putting his life on the line, and
Yeah.
his family's lives, and he almost did just as much as Hank. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And that's why it's cool at
Uh,
the end where they show the after the credits where you see like where it's like he Hank sends him a ticket to go move in with him, and it's like they start the Tetris company together with Hank and
oh
Alexi. They
yeah,
start their own company, and it's cool because then they show after the credits they show like the real people, where you get to see like what they look like and stuff. Then you see Hank and Alexi. It's like they looked like they became like best friends. Like they really got along, and that showed in the
yeah.
movie. Like they were two very similar people that came from two very different worlds, and they meshed.
Yeah, and it was really cool because, like, on top of all that Alexei sacrificed, it was kind of big for him to put all his trust, all his eggs in this foreigner, and then, like you said before, as soon as they signed the deal, they had to like get the heck out of
It's like
Dodge,
get
aka
at
Russia. So
yeah
it's like you're pretty much helping this guy. They had this crazy like Russian uh the car scene, and it was pretty cool. It was
yeah.
okay. But and then you see him kind of like get Hank out of there, and then it's like it's a big moment of trust. Like, all right, he, is he going to come back for him? Are they
Yeah,
going to keep in touch? And because Hank promised him like that he's going to get royalties or some sort of like reimbursement
compensation.
or
Yeah,
compensation for creating probably one of the best games of all time. And then like you said, he does come
yeah,
back from him, and that's really cool that Hank didn't just use him as a way to get save his fortune, because he put
yeah,
it all on the line, and they really did create this foster this friendship and camaraderie during between games,
yeah.
creating games,
Yeah, because at
fine
that point,
tuning
like
this.
his company Bulletproof at that point was basically publishing what very well at the time could have been the greatest game out there. Like he didn't need to go back for Alexi, but he did. You know, then like you said, that's a great thing. They formed a bond. They went through hell together at that point. And not only that, like Alexi was so ahead of the game. I mean, I feel like most people probably would have been at that point. I feel like we didn't live in Russia. We don't currently live in Russia. We don't know what it was like with the KGB, but I'm sure people from there do. And he knew, like for example, the interpreter Sasha. He knew
Oh,
from the
the
beginning.
translator.
Yeah, he knew from the beginning that she was KGB, and it's like they kind of alluded to it early on. When it's like when Hank brings her into like the Elorg building, and he's
Yeah,
talking to Belikov, and then at one point he says to Hank, it's just like, "Hey, you shouldn't don't come back. It's like you should go home or go whatever." And she doesn't fully translate it; she translates part of it, and it's like at that
yeah.
point, it's like that's weird. What it is, and then you see when Alexi's giving them a ride home, and Alexi's just like, yeah, whatever, just call me. And then he writes down on a note the address because he doesn't want her to hear in the back. He doesn't want her to know what's going on because right off the bat, he knows she's KGB. So it's crazy. It's like
Ah,
you have to live in a world knowing like you can't fucking trust people, you know?
trust no one. Paranoia done
Yeah.
1,000. I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah.
That's clever. That's awesome. That's yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Lexi was ahead of the game, bro.
I it also just like the fact that they planted this translator and like got her
Yep.
to get attached to Hank, and like because Hank was seeing a bunch of translators, and so I'm wondering, like, were they all kind of like plants or like
We
spies?
don't know. That's the
So
KGB.
it's
That's
like
how fucking crazy it is.
until he just finally picked one, because eventually you gotta get a translator. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's crazy just to see how deep the Soviet Union ties like ran in just their little culture alone, just in that little. It's 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 mind blowing. Just
Yeah, dude. It's crazy.
really not be able to trust anyone. You're being bugged at all times, or like it's crazy. Communism is it's
And
out
they
of this
really
world.
were. They really were being bugged at all times. And one thing we didn't mention real quick is Gorbachev was in the movie. Um, president of the USSR at the time, where he shows up late in the movie, and he was apparently he was friends with let me see if I can find his name. The father of the other company, Disco. Maxwell.
Oh,
He was friends with Robert
Maxwell.
Maxwell. And then it's just like all these things where Maxwell's like trying to make it look like he's looking out for his friend and looking out for like, oh, you're all about communism. I'm trying to help you out. And he's like, and then Gorbachev's just like, dude, bro, communism's fucking dead. Like, I'm doing what I can at this point to try to survive. And
He
then shortly after, that's when they do the whole they tear down the wall, and basically that's the time period of when the USSR was pretty much done, and hence the reason why Hank was able to bring Alexei out of the country and do all that, because communism failed, and you were seeing that throughout the movie where you have the one guy who was like head of KGB or whatever, where he was just like trying to look out for him, and you see that that capitalism was just like fighting its way into Russia, pretty
yeah,
much.
slowly tapping its way. Even the
Yeah,
KGB guy was just
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was
like he
just like
said,
he's looking out for
communism's
him.
dead. Just pay me. I'm trying to get out. Like, I'm
Yeah,
trying to get ahead. And it's just funny because at the end of the day, Tetris ended communism. It's an amazing movie.
just like
Uh,
Rocky ended the Cold War in Rocky Four. Tetris and
yeah.
Rocky, they go hand in hand.
Oh, I saw a video interview with side note. This is a tangent. Doesn't have to do with Tetris.
Okay.
But since we covered Rocky in the past, I just want to say it real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Um, Sly, it was an interview, and he was saying how Dolph Lundgren actually knocked him out um, while they were recording, because
Yeah.
there wasn't like any special effects. So Stallone was actually like told Dolph like, "Hey, hit me, follow through, like so it
Yeah.
can look real." And apparently Dolph like hit him so good that he passed out and didn't wake up for like 4.5 days or something. And like
Jesus.
he like destroyed the sac around his heart membrane, some crazy thing of
Jesus.
yeah, so he just aired him, like knocked him out, and Stallone like he thought he was gonna die. You know, he just everybody thought he was gonna die. So, but he
That's
didn't.
great.
He woke up, and they continued, and clearly it became like a phenomenal hit movie. But
Yeah.
I thought that was such a fun fact, like especially because we covered it, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I wish we could have mentioned that because
So
that's sick. Dolph Lundgren's just so strong.
think about this from Dolph Lundgren's point of view at this point. Like this is Rocky 4. So Sylvester Stallone is one of the biggest stars in the world. Like he's a mega star at this point. Dolph Lundgren, I mean, I'm pretty sure this was like his first movie. I could be wrong about that. Later on, he does like what is it? He-Man or whatever the fuck it is. He does one of those things.
Yeah,
So it's like he did that stuff. So it's like think about it. You're like this young up and coming actor, and you might have murdered Sylvester Stallone.
yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
insane.
you know,
Correction though, he woke up after he got hit. He woke up on a plane to the hospital, but he was in the hospital for 4 days. I just gotta correct what I said a little.
I think
Um,
that's the plot of Rocky 5, sort of. Because like think about it, the way Rocky 5 starts, he's in the shower, and then he's just like, yeah, he hit me so hard, he broke things that can't get fixed. Like that's what Dolph did to him in real life.
yeah. Oh my God, for real. That's.
That's where he got the plot for Rocky
I
5, right then
wonder.
and
I
there.
wonder how Dolph felt though. He's just like, "Did I just kill the man?"
He
Like
must
you
have
were
felt
saying.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that must have been. Please lift. Please wake up.
I need this job. Well, he
uh,
was like I think he was like a scientist or some shit before that. I don't know if you know. Dolph Lundgren is like one of the most intelligent people ever.
oh,
Uh,
I did not
yeah,
know that. That's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. But
Brain and bronze.
it's pretty much. But yeah, man. Anyway, back to this Tetris. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that tangent to go to another tangent real quick.
Of course.
So this Tetris movie is cool because you kind of like get to see how something was made, something that became this big phenomenal impact. There's a show out there in Paramount Plus, The Offer. Phenomenal show. It's about the making of The Godfather and all the shit they went in through it, and literally the mob was legit involved. Like the mafia tried to stop this movie from being made, and the producer had to become friends with like one of the like the heads of the mafia, where they were just like he and the head of the mafia came up with this like this Italian American like thing where it's just like, oh look, we're good people, and then behind the scenes he's like that one of the heads of the mob, and like he gets shot in this whole thing while the producer's like in stage, like the producer gets like kidnapped by like one of the most worst like killers
Oh,
and all this
oh
stuff. I'm
my
like, bro, like
God.
this is them trying to make The Godfather. Like they had to go do scenes in Italy. They go to
Yeah.
Italy, and then it's just like legit when they get there, the mafia is just like, all right, so you pay us, and then we're gonna do it's like the Italian mob at that point. And it's just like all this crazy shit that he had to go through just to make this
Man,
movie. So
the
it's like
the
I
like
always like seeing that stuff.
the real life dangers just to create this piece of art. Like you're
Yeah,
really going through it with the real dangerous people that
yeah,
could off
man,
you. They'll
and
whack you, quote
yeah, and
unquote, whack you for whatever.
that's the thing. It's like these are like true stories, but they're entertaining. Like Disco, what did we talk about last week? Wu Tang. Look at the shit they went through just to create Wu Tang. Like, it's like
That's
seeing
true. That's
you,
true.
seeing like somebody like or a group of people, however, whatever, like seeing how they created one of the most impactful things in history, whether it be a game or a movie or a musical group. It's like they go through hell, and that's a great story right there. That's like great storytelling at its key, at its core rather. So it's I don't know. Tetris just adds to that.
To get a little philosophical, they say you have to destroy to create, and this
Mhm.
is like it's just everything with art. These people sacrifice, they just pretty much blow up their lives just so they can really chase down this dream and then make it happen and create this new future that only like pretty much only they could see, and it's like their job is to make it come a reality, and it's really cool to see that um come to life.
I'm
Uh,
trying to get him out of here, and I forgot how to do it.
he
um,
just looks like he's judging you now.
there you go. But yeah, man. There we go. So we've had him on the screen long enough. But Yeah, man. No, that's I mean, do you have anything else to say on Tetris? I think we I mean, we
Uh,
spoiled some moments, but I mean, I feel like we did a good enough job where it's like I don't want to give
yeah.
everything away. Like definitely go watch the movie.
No, yeah, it definitely like you probably have the premise, but it's you definitely have to go watch it to really get the whole gist of everything
Yeah.
and really see the little micro interactions because it really was a lot of variables, a lot of
So much going on.
things, a lot of stars had to align for it to happen,
Yeah,
and
we didn't even talk about like his family, like Hank's family. Like
yeah,
that was
yeah,
another plot point in the movie where at the very end they reveal his daughter goes on to become CEO of the Tetris company.
oh
So
yeah, totally.
yeah,
So it all kind of ties in together, and
yeah.
I okay, final thoughts on Tetris. Uh, I don't think I would watch it again.
Mhm.
But if for a first time watch, it was definitely worthwhile. I'm not gonna say it was like legendary Oscar winning or whatever the word is for movies. But definitely worth a watch if you have nothing else to watch. And if, like I said earlier, if you have any inkling to games, any affinity for games, if you played games when you were younger, maybe, I think you would get a lot out of this movie because it does bring some nostalgia. And like we said, you get to see like the making of the Game Boy, and I feel like that's impacted a lot of people, bring back a lot of nostalgia, and just to see how big Nintendo was back then in the 80s, just making all these huge power plays. It's dropping 25K back then like it's nothing. And
Yeah,
I
Nintendo
bet,
was nothing to fuck with. Yeah,
back then that's probably like 100 grand or like some crazy amount. But so if you can really like immerse yourself into this world because it is a drama and it's not fast paced like John Wick or anything. So if you're not into those like slower pace kind of drama type movies, you may not enjoy it. But overall, if you do, you're probably gonna love this movie. It's definitely a fun watch.
absolutely. No, I agree with you for the most part. I probably would watch this again. It's not one of those things where it's like I'd go out of my way to watch it, but it's one of those things where let's say my dad comes down to visit and he's looking for a movie, I'm like, hey, check this out. Or my mom, because she played Cheddar, was like, hey, check this out. And I'd probably sit there and watch it with them. It's one of those movies where it's like if I'm showing it to somebody, I'll probably sit down, like, yeah, I want to see it again. I enjoyed it enough. Like you said, it's not the greatest movie in the world. The performances, they were great. We didn't talk about everybody because there's so many people in this movie.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, there's that, and then there's so much stuff going on. So great movie. I highly recommend it. Like Disco said, if you're into gaming, I would do it. But even if you honestly, if you're just a movie person, I would do it too. Just like because like the drama is there,
yeah.
like there's a lot that goes into it. And one fun fact, another quick recommendation. I just want to say, Paramount Plus as well. I think it's on there. Really, really good documentary called The Console Wars where they cover this time period basically where Nintendo or maybe a little bit after where Nintendo is the number one game console in the world and then there's this upstart company that wants to take over called Sega and it is such a good documentary. Holy shit. They cover all that and then they cover like the first PlayStation when the PlayStation comes out and just fucking change the game. So it's like really, really good documentary. That's something where I would suggest you if you're a gamer, you watch it. But if you like documentaries, just watch it too. It's really, really well done. Really good documentary. But
That's on
as for this
Paramount, you
movie,
said?
Paramount Plus. At least that's where it first came out.
Hmm,
But yeah, it's called Console Wars.
gotcha.
Yeah, dude, there's like some like backstabbing shit that went on there. Like people would leave one company to the other. Like they had press conferences where they would just fuck with each other. It was crazy.
Oh no.
But no, but this as far as this movie goes, definitely I give it 2 thumbs up. I do recommend this to pretty much anyone. Definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, 100%. You want to get the banners ready?
Yeah. Do you want to
Or,
do
or,
the
or actually, oh no, we're moving on to my thing.
yeah?
Uh, all right, okay. Well, next up, we have my little segment where I review TV shows, movies, anything that kind of pops up. And so this week, I wanted to focus on a show that came out on Netflix, I believe this week or last week. Yes, it's called Beef. Let me share my screen real quick so I could show you this little picture. Boom. Okay. Can y'all see that? Can you see that?
There it is. Yep.
The show is called Beef, starring Ali Wong and Steven Yeun. Um, it also has Young Mazzino, David Cho, Mia Serafino. and a bunch of other people. But mainly I just want to focus on these two. Not that those other people weren't that good; they add a whole lot to it. But mainly Stephen Yoon and Ali Wong. They were the
Two great
main
actors,
stars
by
of
the way.
this. They're phenomenal, incredible. They did really good in this show, and I coming into the show, I didn't hear any like advertisement for it. I didn't know what to expect other than just the name and kind of like the vibes they're giving off in the little teaser trailers. But after watching this, I was hooked after the first episode. It really takes like road rage and mental health
Oh,
issues
I've
and
seen the
a
trailer for
lot of
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
factors into the show, and like what becomes a simple little like a person kind of cutting you off type thing, or like you're popping out the parking lot and you know a car just doesn't see you, so you kind of honk at them, and eventually she like flips the bird at him, and it's just like it ticks him past like over the top. It like sets his fuse off, so he ends up chasing her, this crazy car chase, and then they end up ruining some dude's garden and this whole epic thing, and it they track each other's license plate, and then it becomes this little cat and mouse like I'm messing with you, you mess with me type thing. And every episode there's like a new uh step to the beef, and it just gets crazier and crazier. But it was just really fun to see how they portray these like broken people. He's kind of poor and she's rich, and how this beef just kind of shows how broken they are, but at the same time it's also like a coping mechanism because they get thrills out of it, like
Yeah.
adrenaline and endorphins of out of just messing with them, and that's sheer like satisfaction. um like it's just phenomenal just seeing them just get back at each other, the things they do, and family gets involved, and cops, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and just the way Ali Wong and Stephen Yoon bring it to life and how they bond at certain parts, and it it's really just a fun watch through and through. I gotta give it up to Ali Wong and Stephen Yoon. I saw Ali Wong in Paper Girls, and man, she's just not only a funny comedian,
Yeah.
you know, she's pretty popular in that regard, but she's been showing some acting chops these past couple shows, and
Yeah.
you know, in Paper Girl, she did a really good job being like the future self, and then you know, uh, I thought she
That's
was
the
one of the
first place, yeah, that's the first place I
better
saw her in
roles.
because I remember you saying
Yeah,
she was, like, a really good comedian and stuff. I was like, "Alright, let me see what this is about." She did a phenomenal job in Paper Girls.
yeah. So to see her come here and kind of keep the ball rolling, and you really start feeling for her character, and just she's very real in a sense, or it's she's not reacting or coping like a normal person. She's going above and beyond and letting this beef get like the best of her, and it kind of comes between her marriage and a whole lot of things, and you know, slight spoilers, but it's just an all around great show. I highly recommend it. Let me
What's
see
this
who
on,
was
you
there.
said?
This is on Netflix.
Okay.
Uh, who was directed by Lee Sung Jin for Netflix. Directed this, and I gotta give him all the accolades because this was just such a fun watch. You know, Stephen Yoon was is Glenn from Walking Dead, and he has so much more
Oh, yeah.
under his belt.
I mean, he's, invincible and invincible.
Oh yeah, totally. And that
Yeah.
man, I'm still waiting for that to come back.
Dude, that show needs to come back now.
Uh,
Like, I'm
I
done waiting.
I'm hurting for that show. Like it, any little
I might go
ad or
back to
I
just
see
keep
it.
reading the comic because I fell off the comic years ago. I might have to just get back into that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, but yeah, he was also in like Minari and Nope, a bunch of
That's right, he
stuff.
was in Nope, yeah.
So yeah, he's all over the place, man. Twilight Zone. I'm just looking at his stuff now. Wizards, some things. Space Jam.
Everybody was in Twilight Zone. I was in Twilight Zone if you look hard enough.
So you know, their accolades speak for themselves. They're phenomenal
Mm,
people in Hollywood doing their thing, and this was just another banger. And I give it two thumbs up. Highly recommend. It's just a fun watch through and through.
yeah,
I can't speak any highly enough anymore. It's just you gotta go out there and check it out for yourself. It was
yeah.
great watch.
That,
So
that has one thing, like, what you were saying, like basically it starts off with something as simple as minor, like cutting somebody off or whatever. I always enjoy seeing that in like whether it's movie shows or anything. Like it's so cool where something that small could just like truly become like this big thing. Like uh, a good example is like Forrest Gump, one of my well, not even just one of my favorite movies, one of the best movies ever. And in Forrest Gump, early on in the movie, you have something like where Forrest can't walk, so he has the leg braces on. And then there's this one tenant that's in the house that's just like, "Hey, you walk real funny, kid. Let me see you dance." And then like he's dancing all weird, and then that guy goes on to become Elvis Presley, and he learned his dancing from Forrest with his leg braces. So it's like obviously it's not real, but it's just like you see like moments like that. I always like seeing where it's like something that just this little small moment ends up becoming like this major impactful thing. Because it's like the butterfly effect where butterfly flaps his wings
Yeah,
millions of
yeah,
miles. It's one of those situations where literally anything can cause anything. It's always a cool
yeah.
concept.
Something so small just creates like a snowball effect, and next thing you know,
Yeah. Remember Butterfly
tsunamis.
Effect? Remember that movie?
Yeah, yeah,
That was a
throwback,
solid
man.
movie. They made a sequel.
Yeah, did they? I don't think I saw
I,
it.
unless I'm mistaken, there's three of them.
Oh, dang.
And yeah, only part one is good.
They had a trilogy. That wow. They must have it must have flopped hard because I
They were like straight to like VHS. I want to say that's how old it was because I remember my
damn,
dad renting them on at Blockbuster. That's how I found out.
damn. They're like, this is an outrage. They probably didn't even rewind their tape. um,
They were not kind out
shoot,
there.
that's an old joke for all us old heads.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Oh
there's
man.
like one blockbuster still like in
In
Oregon or
Alaska. Oh, it's in Oregon.
Alaska, is it?
I thought it was
I
Alaska.
don't.
Yeah,
I think it. I don't know. It's somewhere like not here, very far.
somewhere
So
that
I
nobody's.
wonder. I wonder how many business like does it even get business? It's just like a museum, I guess, at this point.
I heard somewhere that Netflix is going to stop doing their DVD rentals. Did you know that they were still doing that?
Who's doing that? Who's going? Where? Oh my God.
So
That's.
uh,
Where
hopefully
do you
Netflix
even
doesn't
like
come for
apply
me.
for that?
Hopefully Netflix doesn't come for me. I'm pretty sure I still have like the first half of season 1 from The Sopranos DVD from Netflix. I've
They're
had
looking
that.
for it.
I mean, when did Netflix start? That's because I got Netflix like when it first started. Like that's when I got it. So it's been over a decade that I've had this DVD.
You're gonna get like a 100 grand late fee. You've had it for 20 years.
I think Netflix can afford to have me hang on to this DVD. I think they're doing okay. Oh man,
Yeah.
their gaming industry is starting to grow.
Another movie that I wanted to mention because we're just talking about road rage is a movie called Unhinged with Russell Crowe, and
Okay.
it's like the same thing. Russell Crowe gets cut off, and then instead of creating a beef, though, he just takes it way overboard and like tries to kill her. Like,
Yeah.
but it's crazy, just like you're saying, how like a little act can cause devastating repercussions and consequences. So it's it makes you think out there, what a little road rage can do. And
Oh
even going
yeah.
back to the Wu Tang episode, that one car who was just driving by Ghostface and he
Oh
just
yeah. Yeah.
shot at like any little thing.
My man's in the car with the Delphonics. Just shoot. Like that happened. That's crazy.
Hold up! Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy. Road rage is just a phenomenal topic to just cover. It's very interesting. Anything can come of it, and the show Beef just does an
I might look into that.
extraordinary
Yeah.
job, kind of just bringing two two unlikely people together, and in the weirdest, most craziest ways. um,
Yeah, I might have to look
Highly
into that.
recommend. Yep, I think I'm gonna end right there on this little review.
Yeah, sounds good.
Back, tidy it back up. Beef, check it out. Ella Wong, Stephen Young, and I forgot the director's name. Ali Johnson, something like that. Credits to him. Credits to all of them bringing it together. David Cho's in it. Uh, check it out, guys. Check it out.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna close this page so I can see the camera
Just
again.
throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. I want to see a segue.
Okay, okay. Oh, okay, y'all. If you like what you see, if you got beef with us, holler at us, like, subscribe, and share those comments. Tell us how much we suck to create this beef, and let's get an ongoing uh, battle on the comment section, and we'll beef with you hard. We'll bring it to your doorstep. We'll go crazy. We're
That's how we promote our podcast. Like, come talk shit. We'll finish it.
yeah, and
We
don't
don't
forget
start
to
fights in
check out
LWG. We finish them.
and don't forget to check out our social medias. Bring if you got anything to say about Tetris, holler at us. If you want to check out our shorts or all our little kind of personal things we're doing on our own individual socials, check us out. Um, yeah, definitely. If you guys want a little personal look into our lives, or if you just want like a master view of everything we're doing, just check out our website, loswiseguys.com. We have everything there. We have the fantasy league. We got what do we got? We're gonna have future stuff too.
Yeah,
I'm working. I'm
there's like a few
working
blogs
on.
on there.
We got some blogs. I'm working on this book. Like once my schooling, kind of calms down, I've been dying to work on that.
Yeah.
I have so many ideas in this book that I'm trying to create, and it's such a fun concept. And I've been listening to a lot of audibles too while I'm working in between work, trying to get ideas and seeing different types of writing styles, fantasy and Stephen King, and you know, something Asimov, different types of legendary writers. And so I can't wait to bring all this content. And the other guys are doing content. We're all doing content, and you could check it out at loswiseguys.com.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate the engagement or just the views, anything that you can do to help us. And pretty much, we appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, holla at your boy. It's Double D in town. Hopefully, Eslam comes back next week.
He'll
You know,
fall down the mountain. That's fine.
he needs a medevac. A helicopter would probably pick him up if anything. But we're gonna get him in next week. Hopefully he's here. What are we doing next week? Mandalorian? Is that
We're
what we
doing
got
the
in store for y'all?
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Unless something changes, yeah, we're gonna be reviewing the Mandalorian. So if you guys haven't caught up, that goes for us too, because Lord knows I haven't. Go ahead and watch the episodes of the Mandalorian because we're gonna be talking about it. We're gonna be spoiling season 3 for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course,
Got
we're
some
gonna do a
reviews, some
non-spoiler then a spoiler.
spoils, and
Yeah.
just you just get to hear our input. I think Dan and Eslam have more knowledge of the Star Wars universe, but I got my 2 cents, and
Hey, you watched
I
all the
can
Star Wars shows. You're
I
right there
can
with us.
yeah, I watch them as like a TV show enthusiast, but I feel like y'all have the background
Yeah.
like Easter eggs and like
It's cool though because you have a different
empires.
perspective though. You know.
I guess that's what the Los
Uh,
Five guys about.
yeah.
That's where the wisdom comes from, different perspectives.
Los Weez guys. That's what we do.
We some sassy ass bitches. Come check us out at the Los Five Guys podcast.
I don't. Yeah, we're Southern.
Oh,
Also,
we
WBG off. I'm sorry, not. I just started talking about the. I meant to say twitch.tv/Those Wise Guys. I always have the LWG FVGL on the mind, and that's why I'm always winning, guys. It's always on my brain.
he's dedicated. He's dedicated.
Yep.
You got to give somebody a chance.
This is gonna be my toughest year. This is gonna be my toughest year. So I'm looking forward to the challenge though.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. I want to see somebody take you off the throne. Maybe next year when I have a little more time and not no schooling, because schooling is kicking my butt right now. Not that I'm doing bad, but it's just like mentally
Oh
exhausting.
yeah, you got a
But
lot going on. Absolutely. That
when
plus
I
the
got some
podcast, you know.
some free time at work, I got to talk to a bunch of just being like in a service industry. Just
Oh, I hear you.
it's not for me. But
But
I am here, and we continue to stride on, and
yeah, we got it.
yeah,
So do you want to do a second set of final thoughts non Tetris related, or we just want to call it?
um, you lead. You can start this one.
I've just
I
been
don't.
recommending things this whole episode. I could keep doing that. Go watch Falling Down. One hell of a movie. Came out in like 92 or something, starring oh fuck, what's his name? What's the name of that guy? Michael Douglas. Thanks, Disco.
Mark
Michael
Wahlberg.
Douglas. It's a movie about a man that just can't take it anymore, and there is no better description than that. So highly suggest it. One of the greatest movies I've ever seen. It's a drama. It's a very serious drama, and it's fucking funny as all hell. I mean, I might just go watch it now if I have a chance. But yeah, those are my final thoughts. Go watch Falling Down.
Final thoughts for me. I just want to first off, I guess, want to say happy 420 to all my cannabis enthusiasts. I'm gonna go smoke later. I got some business to attend to. I got some work to finish up, and I just took a little break to record this for y'all. But I'm gonna get back into it, and get a little something, something, and enjoy myself, and it's gonna be fun. Um, what else? Also, I have a fiance, a girlfriend, a lady woman in my voice, in my life, in my voice. She's in my voice too. Um, we watched Love Is Blind. She gets me to watch Love Is Blind, and the reunion episode came out this week. And all I want to say is Netflix. This is the second live show apparently that you ever did, and y'all bombed so hard. I took off work to watch this gosh dang Love Is Blind reunion episode at 5 p.m. that y'all explicitly said it was going to air at, and then I came here, and next thing you know, an hour later, I still don't know if Love Is Blind. I'm just getting all types of warnings and interruptions, and it was upsetting, and I had to vent. Netflix, you got to get that thing on board. If you're gonna advertise a live event, you you better get them servers ready. Children, just come on, man, get it together, Netflix. $1 billion enterprise. You can't even have a live TV show. So I had to let that out. I just
Go
want to
watch
let y'all
Beef.
know.
Go watch Beef on Netflix instead.
Yeah, but the episode came out, Love Is Blind came out, and there was probably their most successful season. Moved a lot of heads, and if anybody else has a girlfriend in their life, maybe they can empathize with me and share in the fact that I have to watch this stuff. That's my final thought. Netflix,
Okay,
get it
that's all
together.
good. All right. I mean, I guess we're good there. So Disco already said everything, so be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Follow us everywhere. And I guess we're good. So I guess have a great week.
Yeah, enjoy yourselves, y'all.